Hi everyone, my name's Spencer and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm showing you how I set up my bullet journal for July. This will probably be the last monthly setup in this journal, so I wanted to make sure that it was something I would absolutely love. I'd like to make sure I'm finishing a journal with good vibes before moving on to a new one. This does mean that there should be an extra video coming soon of the mid-year journal setup, so please look forward to that. For this setup, I decided to base the theme on something I absolutely love, and that is red pandas. Red pandas are tied with wolves for my absolute favourite animal, and I've already done a wolf theme near the beginning of my journal, so it's only fitting that I finish this with my other favourite. I'm also going on holiday at the beginning of July to one of my favourite places. I'll be going to a zoo where my partner actually sponsors one of the red pandas. So lots of reasons to choose this theme for this month. If you can hear slight banging in the background of this voiceover, it's because we're currently pet sitting 2 boxers and a tortoise. And the tortoise is currently trying to walk through walls and there's no stopping her. So I apologise. I will try and clean up the audio when I'm doing the edits. So back to the setup. Of course, I got out a lot of different materials to use. I actually thought I had more red panda stickers than I did, so I did have to add in some extra panda doodles throughout the setup. But that's okay. That just means I have to buy more red panda stickers. So as usual, I'm starting with my cover page, and I'm beginning with this red panda sticker from Jenny Fairy. I featured another sticker of hers back in October for my snake theme, and I absolutely love her art. I also have her unicorn one stuck on my laptop, and I believe my partner has the raccoon one as well as another sticker. I can't remember off the top of my head. Basically, we have a lot of her stickers. So please go and check her out. She is an absolutely incredible artist, and I will leave her links in the description below. I couldn't think of a quote I particularly wanted for this page, so I decided to just decorate it. I highlighted every other line with a light green pen and added a little bamboo sticker to the bottom right corner. I figure I can use this page as a notes page, or if I do find a quote I like, I can always add it in at a later date. For the cover page, I wasn't sure if I wanted to lean into the green end of the colour theme or to the brown and red end of it. So I flicked back through my previous setups to get an idea of where I wanted to go. I particularly flipped through June, which was very green, and I wanted July to be easily distinguishable from the June spreads, so I decided to lean into the brown and red colours for this page. I hope that makes sense. I also wanted to make sure I used a different font for the title from June as well, so I went with this bubble type font in one of the dark brown colours that I plan to use for the red pandas bodies. Using a Derwent sepia fine liner, I think this one was my 0.1 nibbed pen, I outlined the red panda I had sketched out previously. It's ridiculously hot in the UK right now, and has been for a while, and whilst I prefer the warmer weather, it's not actually a good thing. The UK should not be this hot. So I decided to draw my red panda trying to cool off by resting its head on a block of ice, as well as having one balanced on the top of its head. I then coloured it in using a mix of my Crayola Supertips and my dual brush tip pens. Red pandas are, and I think you'll agree with me, extremely cute. They have really dense fur that's this reddish brown on their heads and backs, and then dark brown or black on their legs and their tummies. This dense fur is actually what helps them survive in their native environment in the eastern Himalayas and southwestern China. Interestingly, there's actually 2 types of red pandas instead of just one like we originally thought. Neither are actually related to giant pandas though, since they're not bears. They also have these really dense, really fluffy tails, which are theorised to both keep them warm in winter and to help them climb, since they are mostly arboreal. Being arboreal, it always makes me feel really honoured whenever we are at a zoo and the red pandas come down to say hi, chill, and maybe even eat some bamboo. They also have super fluffy white ears and their cheeks are also white, which makes me just want to squish them. I don't think that's why they evolved to have them though. I just love these animals so much, which is why it's so heartbreaking that there's estimated to be fewer than 10,000 left in the wild. Between rising temperatures, poaching, and loss of habitat, these beautiful creatures have been really struggling. Luckily, there is a great network of charities working to protect them and their environments. There's also some really good breeding programs, including here in the UK, that are helping to boost their numbers. God, I love these furry little creatures. Back to my journal though. I originally added washi tape to this page that matched the colour scheme, but something about it didn't feel quite right to me, so I removed that. Instead, I used this stencil from Notebook Therapy. It actually has a bamboo shape that I think was designed to be used as a tracker, but I just used it here to draw some decorative bamboo, which I think really helped the pages come together. Bamboo is also one of the red panda's favourite foods. They even have a specially developed thumb to help them grasp it, so it's fitting to have it on this page. Next, I'm working on my brain dump page. I started putting this before my calendar page recently, and it works really well for me. I like having a really rough space to chuck everything down on before scheduling it on calendars or trackers if it's a new habit I want to build. I sometimes struggle with decorating these pages because I want to have lots of room to write, but I also love having a really decorative page because I'm more likely to use the page if I like looking at it. So for this page, I drew a red panda hanging out in a tree having a little nap. Like I said before, red pandas are predominantly arboreal, which means they spend a lot of time high up in the trees. I extended the branch across both pages at an angle, so I didn't actually lose too much writing space. I also decided that instead of doing a separate heading, like I usually would, I would add it via a sign hanging from the same tree as the panda. And I like this a lot. It's clear that it's the heading, but not too obtrusive that it will get in the way when I'm using this page. As you probably know, I like to have really full pages, which for me means there's not a lot of white space. I think this is because white pages feel quite intimidating to me, so if I do something that makes them not feel like a blank white page, I'm more likely to actually use the spread. For this spread, I recreated something I did in my June setup for my weekly, which is to highlight every other line in a green colour. I used a brighter green for this page rather than the pale green that I used before on the cover page, because I wanted it to be more vibrant, and I really like how it turned out. I split each page in half, so there are 4 columns in total. This gives me the freedom to categorise any lists I'm making, but mostly it just helps me get the most out of the space as possible. Initially, I did the centre 2 columns in bright green, and then a lighter green on the outer columns, but I preferred the vibrant colour, so went over the lighter one with the green super tip. After doing all the highlighting, I decided to add a little bit of subtle washi tape along the top and bottom of the pages, cutting it at an angle near the branch that I drew and coloured earlier. After finishing the brain dump page, I moved on to my calendar. I started by ruling the lines of my calendar. My boxes are 6x6 dots, and I used the liner end of the brighter green Calliograph. It's a similar shade to the Supertips one, but a little less opaque. After I drew those lines, I grabbed my Tombow Fudenosuke hard tip pen and outlined the 3 red pandas I drew on this page. Because of the odd days that this month starts and ends on, I decided to draw one on the right hand side, climbing up from one level of dates to the next. I drew another one climbing up onto the 31st from behind the calendar. And I think it's just so cute having them interact with the functional elements of the page, rather than just being kind of stuck on the page. The last red panda is curled up having a little nap, whilst its more adventurous friends climb about, which honestly, mood. I coloured them in the same way as before, using the light reddish brown for the bodies, and then the mid-tone brown for the legs, and the darkest brown for their little fluffy tummies. I also decided to fill the empty space on the right hand side by writing the month heading vertically in that space. I coloured it using the mid-tone brown, and then used my white gel pen to add some highlights. I also used my white gel pen to add the whiskers to my red pandas. I did whip out the stencil again and used it to add leaves to the vertical lines of the calendar, and I think this just added a little bit more interest to the page. I also did them in that bright but more translucent green, so I could write over the leaves if I need to. I then decided this still wasn't enough, so I used the palest green pen to add a small banner at the top of each box. And after that, I was finally done. Next, I'm making my tracker page. I'm starting with the heading again, doing that long bubble font again in the mid/dark brown colour. I also made these letters slightly jaunty. I didn't want them to be on a straight line, so I alternated between the letters being like 1 dot higher and then 1 dot lower for each one. After that, I worked on the tracker table that I make each month. I know some people would say that this is a waste of space, that this table could actually fit on one page if I turned the journal, and if that's what you'd prefer to do, you can absolutely do that. But for me, I like to have a lot of space and a lot of decoration, and I don't like having to turn my journal, so I put it over 2 pages. For this table, the top 2 sections are for tracking my pain and fatigue throughout the month, and I have the days of the month going across the page, so each day will have a 1 dot wide column. After that, I basically have a bunch of things like activities or things I can do to help improve my mood or ease my pain. And these work as a tick box for each day of the month. I'm going to be using those 2 green pens, the vibrant one and the pale one, to differentiate between a completed task and a task I haven't done. Sometimes I miss days, so they don't get filled in, but then it makes it hard to tell whether or not it was just not filled in, or if I didn't do it. So hopefully using the 2 different colours will help with that. I coloured the top of the table using that reddish brown, and then used a lighter brown to colour in the headings for pain and fatigue, before writing those headings in the bubble font. I'm not entirely happy with how I wrote these, but it'll do. I decided that I would use those 2 red panda stickers that I had on, along with one of the little paw print stickers on this page, because I was also a little fatigued from drawing red pandas at this point. I thought these pages needed a little bit more of the green, but I didn't want to add washi tape. I know, that's blasphemy from me, but it's the truth. So I thought I would add some of those bamboo doodles along each edge of the page. But then once I started, I couldn't stop. I filled the entire background with these bamboo doodles. I alternated between the bright green and then the pale green for each bamboo shoot, and I left a 1 dot grid space between each one. I also decided to only add leaves to the bright green stalks of bamboo and not the pale ones, just so that the pale ones faded into the back a little bit and didn't make it look too busy. This page quickly became a favourite once I was finished. I think it was really effective and bright and colourful. Just how I like my pages. I think having a busier hand-drawn background works really well with the photographic stickers as well. Finally, we are on to my weekly spread. This is the last spread I'm setting up in this video. I started by drawing a mini calendar in the top left-hand corner. I had planned to put the Jenny Fairy sticker on this page, but obviously changed my mind. So I wasn't really sure what to do in that space. I attempted drawing another red panda, but my hands were really not having it, and I was really struggling to get the shapes right, even after breaking it down into easy steps. So I scrapped that and moved on. For the daily boxes, I needed to split the page up into 9 boxes. This is because I like to just have 1 month's worth of days in my weekly, so none of the days from June appearing here. So I started this weekly on the 1st, which was a Saturday, and then did boxes all the way to the 9th, which is the next Sunday in the month. This way I can start my next week on a Monday, which is what I like. I don't mind having smaller boxes for the first week or so of a month because I'm usually really busy, so I just do little to-do lists rather than more thoughtful journaling. So this kind of layout suits me. In that empty space on the bottom right, I decided to make a to-do list that will run for that entire week. I added little bamboo leaves to the top of each daily box, just for a little bit of interest. And after that, I decided to fill that empty space below and around the mini calendar with the pale green bamboo shoots. So there was decoration, but it wasn't too overwhelming. And after adding the pale green heading to each daily box, I was done. So here's the final flip through of my Red Panda themed spreads for July. I hope you enjoyed the video, friends, and the little facts about red pandas that were sprinkled throughout. If you did, please give this video a like, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button so we can hang out some more. And if you made it all the way to the end of this video, comment your favourite red or animal emoji, because engagement with this video will help it be pushed out to new people. Thank you again, friends. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!